July 5th, 2017, 9 a.m. Tax Committee meeting. The meeting has been changed from the 4th to the 5th due to the holiday. Amanda, would you take the roll, please?
Hickman.
Here.
Hopewell.
Here.
McTaggart.
Here.
Hersley.
Present.
Whitlow.
Here. Okay. Calling the meeting to order. Take a few minutes to look over the claims. I guess all those are actually on.
Yeah, they're all on here, so.
Is there a motion to approve the claims and send them on to county board? Dan? Michael? Any discussion?
Yeah, I didn't know we were paying out, this is just the Bauer Pub. Is that a bar? Sorry.
Hey, I appreciate that. We need it sometimes.
No, you're right. Bookkeeping. I've never seen that bar.
Okay, if there's no more serious discussion, we'll, roll call vote, please.
Hopenhour,
Yes.
McTaggart.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Sticknut.
Yes. Okay, is there any public comments at this time?
I have a comment. I sent a FOIA to Dr. Hughes that requested to disclose how many dogs were euthanized on June 12, 2017. The forms I received are here. Shows he euthanized a dog that belonged to Kelly Coleman, who was found deceased in her home with the dog lying beside her. He told a newspaper he found a home for that dog. Forms prove otherwise. I have records from Dr. Joe showing this dog was in good health and had all its shots up to date. I called Lawrence Coleman, her father. He was told the dog to be sent to Danville, but there are some expenses. Yusuf said he could handle everything for $75, including the euthanization. He was not given the option of surrendering the dog for nothing. He was misled. I sent a FOIA to Vermilion County Animal Control, requesting how many dogs have been euthanized in 2015, 16, and 17. 2015 was 366. 2016, 273. 2017, 113 to date. This is called a high kill shelter. We don't want to deal with them. That's not the kind of people we need to deal with. I've been involved with Julie Boudreau of Kankakee Animal Control. They're in the process of building a new large facility, and she may be interested in partnering with Iroquois County. She has access to many shelters that are calling her for dogs for adoption. They don't have enough for adoption. State statute states that all efforts should be made to find stray owners of stray dogs. I have that here too. All owners to be found of stray dogs and that should be held within for 7 business days before euthanization. Carrie has some statements now concerning this.
I filled in for Jamie as the animal control officer for a little while. It started on June 9th. The concerns that I had going into the facility were, as the dogs are brought in, they do not weigh them. So they put medication on them, including flea meds, as we all know needs to be by weight, and they just guess and put the amount on, which is dangerous. They also do not know the amount of food that they should be feeding the dog because they don't weigh them. They feed them a cup this much of food, and that's not enough for the large breed dogs that are being put in. I was also concerned about the contamination. The way he has it set up, the county dogs and his client dogs are boarded in the same room. The draining system runs through the back, so a lot of times the county dogs that are brought in have worms, they have mites, they have ticks, they have fleas. A lot of things are really contagious. And if a dog is in this kennel and the drain is over here and this is the side that he does his boarding on, they're all in the same room. When they clean those cages, it all runs one way, which is leaving it open for customer dogs to be contaminated by county dogs, which to me, I would think is a liability waiting to happen. Also, they all use the same common area to the bathroom. Again, if you're talking dogs that have all kinds of things for running around, some are owner-owned dogs and are perfectly in good health that were brought in, and that's fine. But I'm talking about the ones that are brought in with clear visible signs of worms, clear visible signs of some sort of skin situation going on, and they're all being housed together. And that, I would think, should change. I fostered a dog through Sunrise that came directly from animal control. I picked her up through Sunrise and I fostered her in my home. At the time, I had another foster through them as well. Lily was, I have it, copy here, was given an outdated distemper shot because she was a county dog, which I have, proof of, and she also came to me with coccidia, which she got in animal control. Coccidia is very, very contagious to all dogs, and every single one of my pets in my home had to be treated for coccidia because she came with it, which sometimes happens, but my argument is that he should house them separately so that they are not contaminating customer dogs. I also wanted to speak just a little bit about what Larry said. I was the animal control officer that arrived on scene for Kelly, who was deceased. She had been dead for a week, and her dog and her cat were in the home with her. The dog was a female, her name was Lou, and even though she had not eaten in a week, not had water in a week, not had been let out in a week, she was still happy to see us. I mean, she was good to the officer, she was good to me, she wagged her tail, she came right to me. There was no reason why this dog had to be put down. No reason. And I brought her to the shelter. Bill Cheatham contacted me and wanted to know where the dog was, information on the dog. I gave that to him, who he then gave to Kelly's father, Warren. And I also went back on my own time and got her cat and brought it to iCare because animal control does not deal with cats. So I also went back into the home while the body was still in there to get the cat and brought it to iCare. The dog, the father came to iCare on Saturday. She died on Friday. He came to iCare on Saturday because they were open. He asked about the cat. He was concerned about the cat. He gave them a $100 donation towards the adoption of the cat. He had to wait till Monday to come and speak to Dr. Yusuf about Lou, and he didn't come in on Monday. Jamie, the animal control officer, warden, usually is the one who speaks to people who come in about animal control issues. She was not there that day. She was sick with strep throat. So I was on call for her, but I was just on call. I was not in the office. So Dr. Yusuf spoke to him. It is free to relinquish your dog. So, you know, that father came in. He wanted to know, could the dog be adopted out? Could there be a home found for the dog? Dr. Yusuf made up a fictitious amount. I don't know what it was, but he made up a fictitious amount to transfer the dog to a shelter. That's just not true. It is absolutely free in our county to sign over your dog to Iroquois County. It's free. And then Jamie could have found a rescue for the dog. So instead, he had the guy pay him $75, his vet facility, to euthanize her. I was outraged. She was a perfectly good dog. There was nothing wrong with her. Jamie could have absolutely found her a home. And what bothered me about it was this guy's daughter had passed away. He's trying to pay for a funeral. And instead of saying, yes, it's free, we can take your dog, we can find another home for it or whatever, he charged him $75. The other thing I wanted to bring to the Tech Foodies attention is I picked up 2 labs also on June 9th. They were a bonded pair, father and son labs. They had gotten loose from their owners. They were camping. I took them to the animal control. On June 9th, I picked them up around 7 or 8 at night. they contacted me by like 10 o'clock at night and said, you know, we've been looking all over for our dogs. Could we please come and get them? I told them no, that normally you have to wait till Monday to pick up your dog. But because Dr. Yusuf had a spay neuter clinic on Monday, two things were happening. One was he gave Jamie and I both 2 days to remove 2 dogs or them to euthanize on Monday. So we worked our butts off for 2 days trying to transfer 2 dogs. One is now named Ramsey and the other one is named Isabel. To get them transferred out of there before he euthanized them on Monday because the clinic was coming. He also told the people that they could come on Saturday and pick up their dogs if they wanted to. The problem is the fee on Saturday was going to be $160 and it would be cash. They cannot pay with credit card or anything else. They didn't have the $160 cash on them. So they couldn't come pick up the dogs on Saturday. They had 2 dogs in boarding. That's $15 a day per dog. So by the time Monday came, the amount had gone up. They again contacted me Monday and said, we're trying very hard to get our dogs back. We're trying to come up with the money. I gave them the new total. And they said, okay, we're getting things together. We want them back. So I called Dr. Yusuf and I said they want their dogs back. They are working to get the money for them. And he said, I want you to call them. I want you to tell them that their dogs are going to be transferred to Vermilion County Wednesday morning. They have until 4 o'clock on Tuesday. I specifically told him that it was against state statute to do that. He has to hold the dogs for 7 business days. It has to be 7 business days. I picked them up on Friday. He was trying to transfer them out Wednesday morning. I even showed him, Animal Control gets a packet with paper in it that states the village agreement. And in it says the dogs must be held for 7 business days. I even showed him that. He still said, no, they're going to be transferred out in the morning. I called the people. I said, you have until 4 o'clock on Tuesday. He's going to transfer them out on Wednesday morning. They said, to where? I said, to Vermilion County. They said, what is that? I said, it is a kill shelter. They said, okay, we will figure it out. We will somehow get them back. They ended up going to Danville and selling a small tractor to get their dogs back because the amount owed was $295 by that time, and it had to be in cash. So they did come and pick their dogs up on Tuesday. What I wanted to make clear, though, is that if Dr. Yusuf had, in fact, shipped those dogs out on Wednesday morning, that is a Department of Ag violation. He cannot do that. They would have sent an officer down, which I did tell him, and he just didn't care. So what I want to say is, people in this county may not care about a stray county dog. They may not. But they should care where their tax dollars are going and whether or not he is doing the correct thing with their tax dollars. He's supposed to be giving them examinations. He gives them no examinations at all. He does not treat them for anything other than fleas. If they have worms, obvious worms, he does not treat them for anything. He doesn't even touch the dogs. He has nothing to do with them. Even though he's the director and he's there and he's a vet, he's nowhere near them. I don't mind my tax dollars going to the dogs. I love them. I help with rescues. That is fine. But it should be going to the correct places. It should be going to help dogs. It shouldn't be just going in his pocket for him to do whatever he wants. I also had a local business owner in Waseca that had to deal with Dr. Yusuf on his dog and had a terrible time getting his dog back. Because he had such a hard time with that, he is willing to donate his building, which is located on 2nd and 3rd Street, for the amount of money of his tax bill, which is $1,000 for the whole year. I don't know what I think Dr. Yusuf is getting paid like $1,500 a month or something. And he's willing to donate the building for the entire year for $1,000. He's willing to, it's already heated, he's willing to have it air conditioned. And he has also spoken to a vet. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, Dr. Patrick Rodewald, I think it is. He's at the Milford Sales Barn every Thursday, and he said that he would come every Thursday and vet any dogs that are there. If there are no dogs, he won't come. I'm hoping that it will give you another option to at least consider, and I'm hoping that at least what I said today makes changes for the dogs in our animal control. I don't see why dogs need to be needlessly euthanized. The last thing I want to say is that Jamie, since she has been there, has not euthanized any dogs. She has built relationships with Kankakee, she has built relationships with Danville no-kill shelters. She herself has done that, and she has successfully transferred out all of the adoptable dogs that we have gotten in without any problem. So there is no need to take the dogs to Vermilion County to have them put down. Also, Vermilion County is absolutely overwhelmed with dogs and euthanizing. They even put something on Facebook last week about they are completely full and euthanizing, and if people want to foster or adopt, please help. So there's no need for our dogs to go there. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I'm just hoping that some changes will be made and something will come up and come forward.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Any more public comments? If not, we shall move on to discussion points from committee members. Anyone have comments on this committee?
Glad that she said what she said. Nice to be informed and things like that. It means a lot to me. Where do we go from there with that topic?
We'll deal with it a little later in the meeting. Animal control is towards the latter part of the meeting. Okay. We'll move on to discussion from the reports from the departments. Okay. Lisa, would you want to go first?
Yeah. The next election is March 20th, 2018, which seems like a long time away, but we're already working on it. Petition circulation will start the first day of September 5th. So petition packets and stuff will be available sometime in late August. Up locally is clerk, county clerk, treasurer, and sheriff, and then half of the county board members will be running again too. And then filing is in November, late November through December. So just to let you know that that's coming up sooner than we think. We are continuing to work on the purge of our voter registration files, and it's going real good. We're getting a lot of cards back, but it doesn't seem like as many as we did the last couple of purges, and I think that's probably, might be due to a couple of things, but about a year ago there was something implemented called the National Change of Address, NCOA, and it's if a person goes to the post office to change their address, they're going to move and they change their address. Somebody's moving, they don't normally think, oh, I need to go cancel my voter registration in Iroquois County, I'm moving out. But they generally do think, I need to go to the post office so that their mail can get forwarded to their new address. So if they're already registered, any place, I think it's a national thing, and they change their address at the post office, that information gets forwarded to the appropriate state, and then the state in turn send it back out. It's a division of the State Board of Elections. Then they forward that information on to the appropriate county, and they put this information into what they call buckets in our system, and we go in and we clean out the buckets, and people get more. It keeps our voter registration rolls cleaner, and yeah, I think it's working real good. It's a little bit extra work. They do it twice a year. They dump stuff into the bucket twice a year, and it takes a little bit of work then, but in the long run it keeps the voter registration rolls cleaner, and that's a good thing. It shows when there's an election you have a lot better true number, like of I mean, we have almost 19,000 registered voters in Iroquois County, but how many of them, are really still living in Iroquois County? The goal is to get your numbers, a lot truer, so definitely helps. So all is going well with that, and that's about it for me.
Okay.
How many registered voters did you say?
We have between 18 and 19,000, high
pretty good.
18,000,
Pretty good number.
yes.
Okay, any more questions from Lisa? Bob?
We're just continuing the process of assessor changes and for 17 payable 18 and moving forward on that. First installment is over, so it's quieted down quite a bit in our office as far as taxpayer questions or concerns. And so kind of keeping one eye on the state legislature, see if the so-called tax freeze comes into effect or not. Well, obviously, with what they signed over the weekend does not include that provision, so just kind of watching that because that'll affect my office, Lisa's office, the county finance committee, but that's down the road if it happens, so just keep an eye on that. Good.
Okay. Questions? Mindy's not here, so we'll hear from her. Anita, would you walk us through the animal control revenue report and expense?
Marvin asked me to put together an analysis of whether or not the fees being charged for animal control are covering the cost. And we've had some changes because of the way we changed our licensing. 2016 was the first year that we had 3-year tags available, and it's also the first year that we put the $10 differential in for altered versus unaltered. So we weren't quite sure what was going to happen. Now, so what we did was, assuming last year was the first year people bought a 3-year tag. So we assumed in budgeting, you can see the revenue budget dollar for 2017, the license fee was $70,000. And you can see the run rate is around $90,000, $90,000 to $92,000 a year before that. Those were all, that $90,000 number is a 1-year tag for $15. That's the only thing we did before. So last year we started 3-year tags, and what we ended up with was $92,000 in revenue. And then you can see all the expenses listed there. The other change that you can see is that in 2016, we switched that clerk to coming from the county board, and that's the line you see at the bottom there. So I put all the costs in regardless of where they accumulate, either in the animal control department or that county board person. And I put her in at 100% for last year and this year because right now that appears to be everything she's doing. That she isn't being utilized as we thought in other departments. So I put 100% of her costs in the animal control department. You can see that historically, 2011, 12, 13, we usually ran revenue higher than expenses by around $32,000 a year. In 2014, it dropped to $14,000 and $18,000 in 15, $13,000 in 16. We've had higher costs, not lower revenue, but higher costs the last 3 years. And you can see where that happened. We had an animal warden who was on our payroll. We switched that to a contracted employee who charges us, by the pickup. So that's in there. But you can see really the service contracts, which is the care of the dogs, those are increasing over the last 3 years. Those costs have increased. So that's been the decrease of about $15,000 a year. I really expected this year to see revenue decrease because if people are buying 3-year tags last year, I would anticipate we'd have fewer tags sold this year. But you can see here that is absolutely not happening, and we're actually above pace this year. We already have $67,000 in tags sold with a budget of $70,000 for the year. So while I anticipated this year we would show a loss of $9,000, we're actually running at a surplus right now of about $25,000. And if we keep at this pace, everything stays at this pace, that last column, the forecast, we would end up with excess revenue over expenses of $34,000. Now, before everybody gets all excited about this, let me caution you. We don't know what's going to happen, the impact of these 3-year tags next year or the year after that. What is the impact? We're really not going to know for another probably 2 years, get an idea of how many people are buying 3-year tags and what that's going to do with the revenue stream. So instead of all 1-year tags and you have $90,000 a year, we did expect when we talked a year and a half ago about these 3-year tags that you'd have a bump up and then a slide and then a bump up and then a slide. I'm still expecting that. It didn't happen this year, so I'm guessing next year that would just make sense, right? If somebody's buying a 3-year tag, next year they're not going to pay a license fee. So I think we're not going to get the true picture of whether or not these are the right license fees to cover our costs for another 2 years. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand what they're looking at?
But the bump, I mean, if I'm reading this right though, 43% are 3-year tags, so you should be able to somewhat know.
Yes.
As long as our dog population doesn't vary a lot.
Right, right. And that is the question, is how many tags have we sold? Like, this is interesting. If you look at number of tags year to date, it's 28,1162, 2,800 for 7 months. That is lower. Our historic trend was 6,000. That's how many licensed dogs we have in the system, 6,000 dogs.
Okay. Well, we're not losing money anyway.
We're covering our costs this year.
And this, I assume this figure doesn't take into account the revenue from the mandated $10 fee.
No, it excludes that at the bottom. You can see in the analysis at the bottom. The revenue at the top of the page is only the revenue that comes to the general fund.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the slide shouldn't be too much if we're only at 43% of.
Right.
I mean, it'd probably be down, but not a lot. You'd think by the end of this year you'd be able to,
Right, next.
because you'd have 2 years
Right.
free.
I have a concern about last year's records just because it was, I don't know how accurate last year was. Let me say that. I'm just concerned about how, accurate we were last year. But you're right. We should be able to see pretty well, anticipate what next year will be and by the end of this year.
Okay, appreciate that. That makes it pretty clear. Any other discussion or questions from Anita? Why don't we move on to the accounting problem that Anita discussed with me last month. There might be some, how should I say, not irregularities. The accounting is not suiting you, maybe.
I was not happy about a month ago. The treasurer, here's how it works. The tags are paid for in the animal control office. Every day, she prints a report out of the animal shelter software, an accounting report, which shows the amount of each tag sold. She writes on there how many are 3-year unaltered, 1-year unaltered, 1 year altered, 3 year altered. Okay, how many of each? That's important because what happens, and then she gets the money and that report to the treasurer's office. It's important because the treasurer's office then says, oh, for unaltered 1 year tags. At $10, I got to take $40 of this deposit and put it in the animal population control fund. That's how they do it. They back into it. They brought me the deposit, which was like $750. And it said there were like 7.42 dogs, tags, sold for like a 3 year, and 4.5 dogs unaltered for a 1 year. I mean, it made no sense. And they're like, this is making no sense. So I went down there, asked her her process, and asked her to run me a report out of that Shelter Pro that shows how many dog tags were sold that day. Should be available, right? Should be simple. The reports out of that system did not tie to the amount of the deposit. It didn't tie to what she said the number of tags were. I was very concerned, and I panicked. So for about a week, I had her give me her report. And what we did is, it really turns out to be less about the system and, well, more about the report that comes out of that system. Because she does her deposit at 3 in the afternoon. Somebody comes in at 4 to make a payment on a tag. She's putting it in that day, right? Not tomorrow. But she's doing the deposit tomorrow. So it's not, that part is not tying out because of when she cleans out her system, does her report, and sends it, and then when she'll take money after she's done her deposit for that day. So it means getting a clean cutoff. You come in and pay for your tag at 4 in the afternoon, that's tomorrow's deposit, so the deposit can tie out. That's issue 1. Issue 2 was the half a dog tag had to do with, she backed into that, and it has to do with when somebody pays and they have outstanding amount from last year. Now what the treasurer's office told me used to happen is, if you come in this year, you didn't pay last year, you owe me $15 for last year. Now you come in this year, you want to pay $30 for a 3-year tag, right? She'll take your $30, your $15 is not paid. The system will apply $15 to last year and $15 to this year, and you have half of this year unpaid. That's half a dog. That's a problem. So you can't have that. Well, because think about it. If you come in, now you come in next year, you think you're paid up, right? You paid this year. You forgot what happened last year. And now somebody says to you, you paid only half your fee last year, and you say, no, here's my check for $30. How do you correct that? So I did put in a new process for her, and she has to log everything every day in Excel. How many dogs, who they were, what the deposit was, what type of tag it was, and that has to tie out to her amount.
Okay.
Now, I still think there may be another issue in this old money not collected from last year. I'm not sure what to do about that, or if that should be something the board decides, like dig into her process. There's only so much, I think, that's my area of responsibility. I'm concerned about the money flow, but when it comes to being in charge of dog tags, that's not me. That's not me. And I'm not sure, I guess that's my issue, is I can give her processes for the accounting. The rest of this, I just think it needs some oversight. I'm concerned about...
Is there any way to see who owes on all this old stuff?
You can run reports on what is like a delinquent, but I'm going to tell you, it's really, really, really a big list. It's really long.
So if you're delinquent, you don't get a tag for this year if you're delinquent.
Well, and Mindy told me, when I went, and this whole thing came up, I did talk to Mindy, and I said, what did you used to do? She said, we made them leave. And we told them, you cannot get this year's pay until you pay last year's as well. You have to pay all of last year and all of this year.
Sounds good to me. That's the real world.
That's
not the government world.
Not the, I mean,
What happens if the animal dies?
Too bad. We do not refund money if your dog dies.
On the brink, don't pay.
Right, exactly. Get a 1-year tag. That would be the advice.
I thought we upgraded the system. Didn't
We did, and it's a whole lot better.
Okay, so this is part of the old system. then?
No, this is the new
Part of the
system.
new system.
Holy crap.
And think about this, a system is only as good as your control processes that use it.
I understand that, yeah.
And that's my concern, and that's when I started to panic and talk to Marvin. Because every year, I'm writing for our auditors. Yes, I have every confidence, because she runs a report out of animal control, and it ties to the deposit. Well, shame on me.
Only as good as
You always got to
information.
go back and double check what the processes are, but there are problems there. And I think more tied-down processes through the whole issue need to occur. I was concerned with, I don't know how many documented processes there are there that explain what you do, and I don't know how much oversight she gets and how much guidance she's gotten that tells her. And I did ask her about that, and she says, I'm here by myself. I try and do the best I can and use my best judgment. Well, I'm not sure that, I think she could use some help.
How big of a problem is this? Is it a big problem? Small problem?
Actually, if you look at that, look at year-to-date. I think it's smaller than I first thought. The difference down here in the bottom, this little square, that's the information out of the Shelter Pro system. And you can see there how much it says in tags were issued, 66,718. That's the report out of Shelter Pro. And what's our deposit? 67,098. It's like $388 year to date. Not huge, 1/2 of 1%. So not huge, but you do have to keep an eye on it. It's got to be, and I will be watching the dollar tie out more than I was in the past, and looking at that and making sure that that runs well. But I was surprised when I ran the Shelter Pro. I expected a bigger difference than what I got.
Well, what do we do? Do we do anything?
So who's responsible for this?
Exactly. Who is responsible for it? That's the question.
That's what it comes down to, is who's responsible for the person. Maybe she needs training, maybe she needs a
Right.
little more knowledge of
Right.
what's going on and how to run the system and
What reports to run and how to run them and what she documents.
Where does this come from? This additional training, additional supervision?
are you qualified to do that?
Well, if you're going to give me animal control, that's exactly why I said I didn't. What did I tell you, Martin? I don't want to get too close to this.
I guarantee you I'm not capable of that.
Oh, boy.
It's an issue.
Do these ever go totally unpaid?
Yes.
They do.
What will happen is, and I know there were some questions about that process, you can have a lien filed against your house for an unpaid dog case. And then you want to refinance your house, can't go through, there's a lien against it. Whoosh, got to come in here, pay off the lien. Eventually, we get our money, almost always.
Almost, but not quite.
Well, if you're a renter, there's nothing to put a lien against, and you move on it, whatever. Sometimes dogs just get reported as dead and they possibly aren't.
It sounds like we need to go back and correct all these old payments paid to the previous year and figure out that whole mess and figure out how much was paid to the prior year's bill or whatever, and notify the people that they're not up to date.
Well, she, as part of her process, when that happens, she sends them a letter telling them, you still owe me $15.
Okay.
She really does try to do the right thing and make sure she's very conscientious, I'll say that.
We're not saying she's doing wrong.
Is she,
Right.
is she the only one that, say she sends this first letter out, that I'm a year behind on half of
Yeah.
whatever. She sends one letter out. Does she send a second one, or who's responsible to collect that money after that? Just her?
Did you meet with them, with like Lisa Hines? Because I know
Yeah.
Lisa, you guys
We
did.
did.
Okay, so I think John and Marvin know the answer. I don't know
We
the
were,
answer.
yeah, but beforehand, there were like 3 letters sent out or something like that. I think, well, Lisa, you were there. We decided that maybe that's
Okay.
more than generous. We shouldn't maybe send that many letters out before.
Go to a small claims court then?
Eileen,
Well, I got
Goes into a
involved in
lien?
it because the liens get eventually filed in my office, and we were noticing that there were a lot fewer of them, so a ball was getting dropped, and it wasn't on purpose. I don't think that she knew, and the girl before Beth definitely didn't know what she was supposed to be doing. So, we all kind of got together and had a meeting. It was
yeah, you guys,
Very
you
useful.
committee members, I guess, didn't get informed of this, but we did meet with all the department heads and try to get everybody on the same page so everybody knows what's going on.
Is it more expensive to create a lien than it is that you just let it go?
It needed to happen because if you just let it go, who would pay? There needed to be teeth put into animal control. Before they did the thing with the court, people just wouldn't pay. If I've got a dog and I'm paying for my dog tag and you've got a dog and you're not, that's not fair. And I'm not going to be happy with you. So they had to put some teeth in it, so the process became that if you didn't pay for your dog tag, and I don't know exactly like how long you had to try to do it, then and a letter would go out, and I think that's where the 3 letters was really overkill
Yeah.
and expensive. So anyway, eventually, if you didn't pay the dog tag, you had a court date, and if you didn't show up for your court date and pay for your dog tag and the small court fee, that's when the lien got filed. And if you wanted to clear that up, you went to court eventually and you paid that, what you owed for your dog tag, the court fee, and then you had to come into my office and pay to have that lien released as well. So it was very expensive, so it was a lot cheaper to go get, your dog tagged when it was supposed to be tagged.
Well, I just can't get through my mind. You go to buy your next year's license plates for your car. You pay for it all. You don't pay for half of it. So these people coming in getting these dog tags should be required to pay for all of it, in my mind, instead of just, well, I think I want to pay for half of
Well,
it.
I think the other one, the year before that they hadn't paid, that should have gone to court. That should be, they could come in and pay for this year's, but they've still got a lien on their property. What's a lien on their property? For a $30, what's a dog tag cost?
What about people that don't own property?
Right.
I think I want to recognize John. You had something to say, John?
The process that Lisa is talking about is under review by Tara, who's the assistant state's attorney, and she's going to prepare an update on the whole process and so forth to present to us. But the other part of what you're talking about, particularly you, Dan, is the responsibility of this committee to establish some policies that will govern and control what's happening in animal control. The process that Anita talked about is something that it was talked about believe several months ago, you people could put together a policy for that job description and policy for how that whole function operates. The county board, she's a county board employee, and it's up to us to establish the policies and procedures that will govern or control what happens.
We hadn't put together a job description because there was some discussion about where she was going to be used. She was going to be shared with other departments or what. So
And some of that's already happening. We talked with other department heads, and they have extra work, she's done some of that already. I've established that going forward, and it's going to be
But we haven't,
set times in the year or whatever.
but we haven't put that yet into a job description.
Right, but that's part of what's needed. That's part of what's being talked about. She's doing the best she can, but she's lacking in guidance, and the guidance needs to come from a job description that clearly sets forth exactly how things are to be done.
Well, and a job description is an overview of what the responsibilities are. But on top of that is step-by-step procedures. Those are internal documents to that office that explain step-by-step how she does things and what happens next. That's what she needs.
But we need to have something put before us so we can review it and make changes, because frankly, I'm not capable or qualified to write a job description. So there needs to be some guidelines, and we need to review them. So someone,
Well, the office should write the job description. The office itself, you staff, Dr. Guzzo, and his staff should write the job description and give it to us to review.
she's our employee, not his. So it's our responsibility here to do the job description, not him.
But what I'm trying to get at, they know what the job is to do. We don't know what the job is. I mean, we really can, there's not a one of us sitting here can go in there and sit down and do the job,
Correct.
because we don't know.
But
But we could look at the job description,
yeah, that's the point.
and then we could write policy.
We need to have something put before us so
Yes.
that we can review it and have some intelligently
Right,
drawn up document.
absolutely.
Yeah. So we need to work on that and decide who's going to do that. We'll have to ask for volunteers somewhere. Okay.
There is a draft job description here that was started in 2015,
Uh-huh.
but it's marked as draft. So I can forward it to everybody.
That would be a good idea.
I think, like Anita said, though, the more important thing is the job description, because that's pretty vague. The real issue is this process,
The procedures.
step-by-step procedures. And I don't. It's going to involve the person doing it, and I don't know who, to determine exactly how we're going to do that, and maybe some of the stuff the assistant state's attorney's doing or whatever would come into play as from the lien perspective, but there's going to have to be, I don't know,
Yeah, you've got to have the
a
work.
combination of maybe somebody from here and Anita's view of it, because a lot of it's the financial controls over it, and people that dealt with it before, Mindy or somebody that knows kind of how that whole,
Somebody who understands it.
and the person that's doing it currently, because there's a different system involved. There's a lot of different variables there.
Absolutely.
Between the legal aspect of it and the financial controls over it and what was done before and how the new system even works and how they can make that part of it.
Okay.
So it sounds like somebody needs to sit down with Mindy, Anita, the person involved, and try to get some kind of job description and procedures set up in that meeting, and then present them to us. That's basically what we're saying.
He doesn't have anything to do with it.
Pardon me?
Mindy Wendy has nothing to do with it.
But she would have knowledge in the past, correct? That's all I'm saying. She doesn't, I understand she doesn't have to do anything with it now, but she would have knowledge of maybe, yeah, the guidelines, like Jed said, of what was happening in the past. I don't know what else to do.
Well, let's keep that on the burner. Dee, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up here?
I absolutely have no comment whatsoever to do with animal control.
I'm just backing up and department heads and wondering if anything from the health department.
No, nothing that I won't discuss with you in subcommittee.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Just wanted to give you an opportunity so
Thanks.
you wouldn't feel left out.
I just still want down. Trust me.
Okay, I think we need to continue with animal control. I think we need to go into executive session and discuss what's been presented before us. So,
I have a question. Is there any way for transparency's sake for this to be held in open session? Because so much has been brought up already. Speaking with Mr. Devine, he says that it does not have to be.
I don't think we want to do that, Wendy. I think we need to do it in private. Sorry. So, I would entertain, hang on a second here. Oh, okay. Oh, it's still there. Yeah. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session per 5 ILCS 120/2C, the appointment, employment, or compensation of public employees.
So,
Have a motion, is there a second? Kevin, either one. Okay.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
See, do we need roll call on this, or just? We need it? Okay, we'll do roll call to go into executive session.
Kopenauer.
here,
McTaggart.
Here.
Kersley.
here.
Whitlow.
Here.
Hickok.
Yes. Oh,
I saw her
yeah.
walking outside somewhere. Maybe she's just fiddling.
Randy Hyman's mother passed away, don't you know Randy? Randy Hyman's
Well, this is a
mother
sad
passed-
deal.
I don't know if you know Randy Hyman. Yeah, his mother passed away.
It's gone way beyond what
Well, we're back in open session now. Tax committee is in open session, so is there, since there's no one else in here, I guess there's no use making much statement yet about what we concluded or how we're going to move on. I'll wait to see if Wendy comes back and before I say anything more about it. Is there any old business? Okay, any new business?
I think we covered it.
Well, I don't know. I guess we just as well adjourn and I can talk to Wendy later on. Motion to, pardon me?
Should you just say it for the recording?
Oh, I could say it, yeah, I could make a statement as far as the video of the tax committee meeting. We came out of executive session, we listened to arguments to and fro on what was alleged. We don't have enough evidence yet really to make a decision. We're going to wait till next month to talk to Dr. Yusuf. We have really found so far no wrongdoing, but we're going to investigate further. Any other statements, comments from committee members? Okay. In that case, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jed and Michael. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?